In 2015, I started doing personal assistant tasks and I had no idea the world of opportunity that it would open up for me. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was actually looking for a way to find remote work. And a friend suggested, hey, what if you start looking into being a personal assistant or a virtual assistant? And so I started looking into it and I realized that so many things that I was already doing in my everyday life, whether posting on social media or answering emails or managing my calendar and my kids' calendar, I could do totally remotely for other people. And so this whole light bulb moment went off and I started a virtual assistant business. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name's Abbey Ashley and I teach people how to work from home totally remotely. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to be notified every time I release new content. Okay, so I thought in this video I would detail out exactly what a personal assistant is, what a virtual assistant is, can these two be melded together? Like, what is this whole thing? So let's go ahead and just break it down so everybody understands what the heck this even is. Let me start off by saying a personal assistant, a virtual assistant, these are both really broad terms. And so there's not going to be a detailed job description of like, this is what every single virtual assistant does and it never veers off of this job description. Or this is what a personal assistant does and it never veers off of this job description, right? And there's other titles for these things. There's freelancers. Personal assistants could be a personal secretary or a house manager, right? I mean, there's so many different things that could fall under these categories. So I just want to break apart, in my opinion, from 10 plus years working online, working in this like remote assistant space, what these two things actually mean. All right, we'll start with a personal assistant. So a personal assistant could also be referred to as a personal secretary, an executive assistant. There's a lot of different titles for this. So adding the word personal to assistant generally means that you are also helping an individual with personal tasks. So it may be that an executive, right, that you are a personal assistant for an actual high up executive in a company. Maybe you're a personal assistant for an entrepreneur. Maybe you're a personal assistant for a family, right? But usually you are working for an actual individual in that case. And so you may end up doing some business tasks for them, but you may end up doing some personal tasks for them as well. So if you are a remote personal assistant, you might be doing things like helping answer their email or doing calendar management or, doing online grocery shopping for them and having it delivered to their house. You might be doing travel research and booking trips for them, right? You may be doing some of that for their personal and some of that for their business, right? Maybe you are posting to their social media, things like that. But these are all tasks that could be done remotely, which I think is super, super cool. Now, you could also be an in-person personal assistant, right? Maybe you actually show up to that corporation or that business every day and that's what you do. I actually have a house manager. This was one of the things, once my business exploded, I decided, you know what? I can't wear the mom hat and the business hat all the time. And so a lot of like the house stuff, you know what I mean? Like running errands or taking the dog to the groomers or, paying bills, prepping our food for dinner that night. Like a lot of that I just couldn't do as a business owner anymore. And so we hired a full-time house manager that literally comes to my house every single day to help with that, right? And I only did that once like it got to the point where my time needed to be spent doing business activities instead of at home doing all these other activities, right? So that could fall under the personal assistant space as well, right? But again, those would be an in-person type of assistant. Now, what I have spent since 2015 doing and teaching other people to do is being a virtual assistant. And I think there is definitely a line between personal assistant and virtual assistant, although a virtual assistant might do personal tasks and a personal assistant may be virtual, right? Are you following me? So a virtual assistant, again, usually works specifically with business tasks. So small business owners, whether it again is a company, maybe it is an individual, you still might be answering emails for that business owner. You might be scheduling their social media. You might be paying invoices for the business, right? These are the type of tasks that you can do as a virtual assistant. And what's beautiful about it is that you can do all the tasks. Yes, that's right, virtually. So if you've thought about becoming a personal assistant, I would highly recommend that you maybe step back for a moment and consider doing the type of work, whether it's personal or for business, doing it virtually, right? So many of the tasks that need done by executives, by families, by CEOs, by entrepreneurs can be done virtually. And what's beautiful about you being able to work virtually is you can build up this business while you're working a 9 to 5, right? Working in the evenings or early in the morning. You can travel while you're doing your business, right? You become your own boss and not just working for one individual. You can literally build a team of subcontractors. We have virtual assistants who have built their businesses who now have, 5, 10, 20 subcontractors. So they're able to go on vacation while their subcontractors do the work, right? And this is how our students are able to make $5, 10, 20, $50,000 a month in their businesses by them not being the only person to do it. So again, this is another reason why I think that being a virtual assistant or a virtual personal assistant even is a better option than just working for one family, going in, being there at a physical location. Now, just because you work virtually doesn't mean that you can't still interact with people, right? Like I go to conferences all the time. I'll go to networking events. So if you're an extrovert and you're like, oh, working remotely though, like I really like the in-person aspect, you can definitely still have the in-person aspect. But if you're an introvert, this is definitely a better path because you don't actually ever have to do any of those things if you just don't want to be around people. So if you want more information on how to become a personal virtual assistant or how to become a virtual assistant, start a virtual assistant agency, this is what I do. This is what I teach. This is what you're going to find this entire channel devoted to. So explore the videos here on the channel. I have this training below. It's called Become a Booked Out Virtual Assistant. Check it out. It goes into how to price and package your services, how to market your virtual assistant business. It's super, super jam-packed with info. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you take the time to watch it. It's totally free. Now, I would love to know, what other questions do you have about becoming a personal assistant, whether it is an in-person assistant, a remote, a virtual personal assistant? What questions do you have? I would love to hear them in the comments below. Me and my team respond to every single question. So go ahead, drop it below. We'll answer it for you. All right, thanks again. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.